It's going to be tough, says Juan Mata. Well, they're not making it look tough at the moment. No. 2 4-0 wins in a Jose Mourinho side. Not only are they high-scoring, which we know he can sometimes let his sides do at the start, but it's the late goals as well. It's the fact that they're not just seeing out games and protecting their advantage. They're going for it. This is a statement of intent.
Yeah, and they have... I mean... Last year, for some reason, they didn't get the goals when they dominated games. And I think
crazy.
People had this idea that maybe they're a boring side because you see 0-0 and you think, oh, this was boring. But actually, they were really destroying oppositions and not putting the ball in the net. Yeah. And now I think people are very frightened because they know that they will keep a lot of clean sheets and they're very hard to beat. But they also now get the goals. Yeah, and that combination is absolutely frightening, I think, for everyone concerned who's not a Man United fan.
What you've seen with United is that they're not getting frustrated by the teams, whether they're staying deep or, you know, or they're trying to catch on the counter-attack. Whatever they do, Man United are, at the moment, equipped to deal with it, with Bailly and Jones in particular playing pretty well, and obviously Matic and Pogba and everybody's... It just feels like there's a well-oiled machine at the moment. We don't know what's going to go wrong, but they just look like everybody is up for it. They look like an old Man United side. They look invigorate. They look like a team that know that they're good enough to kick on now. They've got goals, they've got strength, pace, everything, intelligence. They've got everything in their team.
Another reason that the rest of the league may be nervous is that Jose Mourinho does like to lead from the front. I mean, the amount of time that his sides have spent at the top of the league when they've gone on to win the title is phenomenal.
Yeah, and of course it's his second season where historically he does well, he wins titles. I think Leicester will provide a really good test because I think looking at the two teams that Man United have played, they perhaps weren't the stronger sides, they weren't the most organised sides in the league, and I think Leicester, with being such specialists in soaking up pressure and playing on the break, would provide a much bigger test for Man United. And also will show us, I think, just how good Matic is when he actually is pressured. He had so much space and time on the ball. I think he looked like an absolute superstar. But it's easy when your nearest opponent is 20 metres away from you, protecting the back four. And the other question that needs still answering, I think, is can Man United win a league without width or natural width?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because they're playing a very narrow attacking midfield, and they're relying on runs to create movement rather than the ball going wide.
Into wide areas,
And I think that'd be very interesting against a team that are so good in the centre to see where's the breakthrough going to come from.
But do you think they're choosing not to have width, Manchester? If they have someone like Mkhitaryan, who's got a couple of assists already this season, can they have it and they're choosing not to? Or?
No, I think they wanted to sign one more player.
And Lamar, they wanted Lamar, they were linked with him and Perisic.
Who is more of a specialist in putting the ball in from wide positions. They haven't got that player at the moment. And, of course, the intelligence of these guys, Mkhitaryan or Matas, whose wonderful runs behind, proved like a really great way to get behind back fours. But these are players taking up positions and relying on through balls, but you cannot really necessarily spread the game and play really wide against sides that will be very, very hard to beat. And that's going to be a question, I think.
But for a team like Leicester, who I watched at Arsenal, and Arsenal in the end beat them, a team that sits in and wants to play on the break, they're very fragile. For them at Arsenal to be that kind of team and still concede so many goals, it's worrying for them. And what I worry for them with Man United, Raf, is that Man United now, they seem to have a different kind of approach to it. They're going to be patient because they've got the pace, they've got the skill, they've got everything. So they can be patient. If Leicester are going to defend like they did against Arsenal, they're going to get beat. They'll get beat probably again like that.
Yeah, and as you said, strangely enough, some of those goals came right through the middle.
Absolutely.
Just a bit of movement. So maybe they have the right team for them. One thing I would add is that I think psychologically that fear factor is back. And you now go to Old Trafford and you basically think, we might get a draw, but we probably won't. And that is huge because that in itself is worth something when teams go to a place and thinking we probably won't get a result.
And that's what it used to be like at United, because I remember, and because you knew the players as well, but you'd go in the tunnel with them, Raf, and you'd look at them And I don't know if they were told not to look, but the fact that they didn't look made you even more afraid to look. It never looked back at you. You'd be like this, and you try to look across to see if Roy Keane or Ince or someone would just give you the nod, like to say good luck, and they just look like that, Giggsy, and you think, oh my God, we're in trouble here.
Well, Roy Keane's been scathing about players who say hello to each other and shake hands in the tunnel before games, even since he's stopped playing. But you know, for Manchester United to have that kind of psychological advantage, just for them to have that atmosphere within the club, is that what Zlatan's back for in part? I mean, how much of a footballing opportunity is he going to have this season, or is it about the fact that we all saw the announcement that he was coming back, where he's sort of posing as Jesus, shaking hands with the Red Devils, and I mean, he doesn't do anything by halves. Is he a good person to have around the club because of that?
Absolutely. You know, I was thinking the other day, where will he play? And we're only two.
Mind you, to be fair, we did say this when he came on board last season.
Yes, where will he play? And the kind of character and the kind of person he is, he will play a part in Manchester United doing something brilliant this season. To have him in this season where they've got Champions League and they've got all the games that they're going to have to play, and his experience, it's like a godsend. It's an amazing person to have in the dressing room. So brilliant.
So Manchester United absolutely flying. 4 goals in each of their opening 2 games. They've got the psychological advantage back. They've
even you were scared.
Stuttering. And, you know, Craig Shakespeare, on the other hand, is having to deal with a group of players who are linked with moves away, who, you know, they look like they're sharper than they were certainly at the beginning of last season, but their players are unsettled, or at least seem to be. How does he deal with the fact that suddenly the players, as soon as Leicester start playing again, they're being linked with moves away?
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that the transfer window is nearly closed.
Yes.
So I think they might just have to get through those last 6-7 days.
Well, what's your feeling on this? Do you think this is people coming in for Leicester players, or is this Leicester players trying to get a move away because of the good end to last season and the good beginning to this?
Well, I think this goes back to the Championship winning season. When they won the Premier League, a lot of these players suddenly had big offers. Most of them stayed, but maybe think, you know what, maybe we should have moved, because we had a terrible season last year, which ended well, but, you know, we didn't get anywhere. We're not in Europe. We're not in the Champions League. We can't really, I think, have any realistic expectations of getting back into the Champions League. And people are thinking, you know, my career is very short. I could have maybe gone to Arsenal, Palmares, or Barcelona, or, you know, these kind of things. And they're still, I think, at the back of the mind, there's kind of the hangover of what happened 1.5 years ago. And the only way to stop it is, I think, to wait until the 1st of September, when these players know that they now have to play, to get that move if it ever materialises in January.
Could you imagine being in a dressing room where so many players at once, you know, Mahrez, Vardy, Drinkwater, Demarai Gray, being linked with moves away? It must be unsettling, surely. Or would you block it out?
Well, I think you have to block it out because you've got no choice.
It's different if it's one player, but to have a group. Yeah,
I think it can. You do. I've been in dressing rooms where people have been linked and you don't know what's going on, and you want to know, but you can't outright ask. Are you? You don't do that. You don't ask them. You're just hoping that hopefully it closes down and then you can just get on with it, because, you know, especially if it's the players like they're talking about, like Mahrez, and if it was Vardy and Demarai Gray, who I can't understand cannot get a chance in that team. You know, he should be looking about maybe seeing if he's going to move.
Scored in the League Cup in the week, didn't he?
Because what happens is that if you're looking around and you're seeing those players and you're thinking to yourself, are they going to leave? What's going to happen to me if they leave? How am I going to get through? How am I going to get to the levels I want to get to if the best players are leaving? That means, obviously, we're going to be going the other way. And I'm surprised that a lot more Leicester players haven't wanted to leave, because Leicester winning the league was amazing. And you've got players who would never in a million years get a winner's medal. Have got them. So now they can say, well, I've done that. I could go and maybe make some more money now, or go to somewhere else and have a different experience now, because what am I going to do at Leicester? I'm not going to win the league again at Leicester if we're going to be totally realistic. You know, Leicester fans say, yeah, we've done it once, we can do it again. No, you won't. If you're going to be totally realistic for me, you won't. So they're very fortunate that the players have stayed. Vardy, I was very surprised he stayed. I'm surprised Mahrez is still there. You know, Drinkwater's now being linked with Chelsea. And if you've got ambition, you have to say, well, I've done it for Leicester. I'm not going to do anything better than what I'm going to done at Leicester. I've got to try and see if I could go somewhere else. That's how I'd be thinking.
And ambition is the key word here, because usually you'd say it's great, players are loyal, loyalty, wonderful. But at the same time, by being loyal, basically what they're saying is, I don't longer want to win anything, or I don't have any realistic expectations to win. And that, I think, is very hard for a player and for a dressing room to get out of that comfort zone in a way.
We will get to the fact of how much they want to win this game against Manchester United and whether they can do it this weekend at Old Trafford a bit later on.